Dearly beloved, we are here today to talk about something very, very important. I want to talk to you about 5 films that people just don't believe that I have never watched. I just got really, really tired of the fact that just because I am, or at least I try to be a movie director which put out at least 2 documentaries in the last 2 years, people all of a sudden assume that I have watched all the movies that there are to watch here in this beautiful blue planet in which we all live in great peace. Well, the fact is that I didn't, and I have a list of at least 90 titles waiting for me to hit the play button and actually see those movies. Among those titles, there are huge classics. So I have not watched all the films that are to see in this world, and I probably never will, as much as that makes no sense to you. My students keep asking me, have you seen this? Have you seen that? And sometimes I say that I have not seen a particular movie and they all flip out. Kids, some of you never watched Jurassic Park, and that is not the reason why I am slapping your faces, although I really should. So let's start with the top 5 movies that people don't believe that I have never seen. I'd like to admit here in front of the world that I have never watched Goodfellas. Goodfellas is a 1990 movie by Martin Scorsese, a great master of this fine art of cinema that has become a classic. It's one of the great mob movies made. You can't compare it to The Godfather. I'm not saying that it is a bad movie, but I have never watched it. You know, it's 2 hours and 26 of movie. I'm not going to say I don't have time for that, but if you look at my schedule, you will understand. It has Robert De Niro, which I really love, and I'm really not being ironic about this. I really love, and Joe Pesci, who I also came to admire. And it is a movie that I really want to see. It's just not a movie that captivates me from the get-go when it comes to the trailer. And to be honest, I was 5 years old when it came out, so of course I didn't go to the premiere. And I will see it soon. I promise you, I will see it soon. Number 4 on my list is Forrest Gump. Yes, I have never watched Forrest Gump. I promise that I will, so don't be mad at me, but I have never watched it. Forrest Gump is a classic. It's everywhere on the internet and people love to make memes about it. It's great, and I have to admit it that I've never watched it, so, slap me in the face or something. Forrest Gump came out in 1994. It's a movie by Robert Zemeckis with Tom Hanks in the main role. This movie created real buzz around Tom Hanks, and it's probably one of the reasons why Tom Hanks became such a huge star, and I really love Tom Hanks in all movies that he made and that I've seen. I have not seen all of them, that's why I'm making this video actually. And one of my favorites is, for instance, Saving Private Ryan, which was a great hit at the time it came out. Tom Hanks is a huge star, and I'm a huge fan. So why I've never seen this movie, beats me. This is one of the movies that I believe that at some point in my young life watched, but not with the attention that it deserves. And that's why I have it on this list. There are a lot of movies like that. There are a lot of movies that I've watched with friends, and I didn't pay the attention to the movie that those movies actually deserves. There are a lot of them in my 90 plus titles list waiting to be seen. Number 3, and probably the one I feel most guilty about, is Schindler's List. It's an absolute cult classic made by Steven Spielberg, who I deeply admire, and I believe that he has done things in movies that no one else has, and he's brought us stories that no one else could. And I feel terribly guilty that I've never seen the Schindler's List, and I will not even try to crack a joke about it, just to show you how guilty I feel about it. Well, number 2, and I hope you folks are sitting down. I have never watched Pulp Fiction. That's it. I've never watched it. You know, what can I do? Never did. It's a classic because it's a Tarantino movie, and all Tarantino movies are classics, even though some are not really good. That I said it. Pulp Fiction actually looks pretty decent. It came out in 1994. I guess I was too young to be hyped about a movie like that coming out. It has been on TV numerous times and I just never watched it. So here I am an asshole, I know, I will watch it, I promise. And finally, the movie that I rank number 1 as the ones that I have never watched and I feel terribly guilty for is a movie that has my favorite writer, Stephen King. It has one of my favorite directors, Frank Darabont, and it has Morgan Freeman. I'm talking about Shawshank Redemption. Shawshank Redemption came out in 94, and it was one of those movies that it doesn't came out as a big hit at the time in Portugal, and I was 9 years old, so watching Shawshank Redemption in the theaters would be really hard. But Shawshank Redemption has, from what I've read, great acting and great photography. So it's probably one of those movies that I would just absolutely adore. Plus, it was written by Stephen King, and I just love everything that comes out of that man's brain. Everything that comes out of his brain and is shot by someone else. I just give them a try, and I've watched things that everyone just hates, like Riding the Bullet or Under the Dome, which is a TV series based on the book that has the same name, and the series just butchered the book, the story, in such a bad way that I'm just feeling like crying right now. Why have you done this? But back to the Shawshank Redemption. It's a movie that I feel like I would really learn a lot by watching, and just for some reason I just didn't. So just to sum it all up, I just have no clue why I've never watched these movies. I have not watched them because I don't like them. It just never happened. Sometimes you just don't choose the movies that you see, and you end up watching crappy movies all the time and never make the time to watch the really good ones, which happens with me right now. What about you? What are the films that you just feel embarrassed that you've never watched? Let me know in the comments, and please just insult me for not ever seeing your favorite movie, because I really deserve it. So see you next time. Don't forget to leave a like, a dislike, or to insult me, because I really like to be insulted, and in this video I actually deserve it.